Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Dilly, and this week I am making a lampshade to go with the headboard that I made last week and the week before. It's covering a lampshade with the same velvet that I had for the headboard. I hope to be making a bolster cushion as well, and if I've got enough material left and if I can manage how to work out how to do it, I might make a scalloped shell shaped cushion as well. Wow, that's hard to say. You try it. Scalloped shell shaped cushion. Say that fast 3 times. Okay, so let's get on with it then. So I've now put the material up the wrong way, i.e. nap facing the table. Originally I had the old lampshade. I've taken it off because it's on these velcro attachments. I originally had it up here, but I'm glad I had a rethink because the velvet would have gone from side to side. So I put it here and it just fits perfectly in length, with a little bit all the way round in order to be able to glue over the edges, because I'm using a hot glue gun once it goes on back on the frame. So you won't be able to take it off, but then that's not a problem really. Then that left me, basically this takes up a third and a third. So I thought, well, I'll make a bolster cushion, but if I made a bolster cushion that way round, it would be too thin and too long. If I made it that way round, it would be too fat and too short. So I might have to forego the square cushion because my daughter would prefer the bolster cushion. So I've pinned it out. So that's the marker for cutting for the lampshade. These are the pins that I've got in it for the bolster cushion. So it works out to be, I've been doing it in old money, inches. It works out to be, it will be 18 inches round. I've allowed an inch for seams, and it will be about 18 inches long, which seems bizarre because you think, oh, that's going to be a short, fat, dumpy, squat one, a bit like that. But actually it works out okay. Then I had to try and work out what pi was in reverse, i.e. I knew the radius because I've got to cut 2 circles, one for each end, and the radius is going to be 18 inches. So I thought, well, so how can I cut a circle from that? How do I do it? Now I was trying to work out the most simple solution. I took my 18 inches, I made a circle, I measured across here, and it's about 6 inches. Well, who knew? I certainly didn't. So there's a pin here to where the cut will be for the 19 inches in length, and then here underneath the pin area, so that'll be cut as well, I have enough to make two 6-inch circles, if you like, with a radius of 18 inches. And then I'm left with a strip of material in the middle. Now, I had this crazy idea. Why don't I try and make a scalloped shaped cushion to go with the headboard? Mentioned it to my daughter. Oh yeah, that'd be great. Went onto Pinterest and I found a scalloped edged chair as well in exactly the same colour velvet. You can buy them on eBay. 150 quid, I think it was. Well, I'm certainly not getting that for her. But I showed it to her and she was certainly very keen on the idea. But no, I'm not going to buy her that, I'm afraid. She can buy it herself if she wants it. So, yeah, I've got this bit of material and I've got the scraps from where I cut off the excess bits on the end of the headboard around the scalloping edges so that I could tuck them in neater. So I've got those as well. So I might have a little bit of a play and see if I can make a scallop cushion as well. If it's going to be too much hassle, I'm not going to bother because I've got lots of other projects on the go at the moment. Started filming for bits of them, so maybe I'll do films of those later on when they're more complete. Yeah, so that's where I'm at so far. So I'll cut out this piece and then I shall apply it to the lampshade, and that will be one more job done. Then I can make the bolster cushion, which should be fairly straightforward, and that'll be another job done. I don't know when I'm going to be able to give her all these, of course, because I'm not allowed to see her. I'm certainly not allowed to drive round, and if a policeman stops me and says, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm just delivering all these things that I've made for my daughter." I think I might get a fine, don't you? And quite right too. Anyway, I digress. So the next stage will be me sticking the this bit of material to the lampshade. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit at a time because the glue gun goes off quite quickly. Don't fold up like that. Just going to take it up to the edge and a little bit either side. So I've got something to turn over at the edges. So it's already gone off really quickly there. Oop. Going to do it in sections like that, small sections, and fold the material down so it doesn't go off too quickly. The line up there, I wonder if I'd be able to iron this once it's on to melt the glue again through the material. Do you know what? I'm going to give it a try so that I can actually iron out this ridge. Anyway, let's keep on trucking. That's actually going skew with. Terrific. Or is it? There's not enough on this edge, so after doing it all that carefully, just take it off a wee bit and lift it across. That's trying to rush for trouble. Oh, one bit has stuck well, and I don't want it to have done. Kind of sod's law, really, isn't it? Yeah, what I'm going to do, oh poop, I've just got a big blob on the, this is all I've got plastic tablecloth on the table. Really? Keep on gluing, Dilly. Quick, quick. But not so quick that you make a mistake. Right, that's it on the fabric is on the lampshade cover, the original lampshade cover. What I'm going to do now is iron it and see if I can A, melt the glue again a bit better under there, and B, get rid of these ridges. I don't know whether you can see it on the camera, but where the glue is underneath the fabric, it's kind of ridges on there. So that's my next thing to do. I'm just going to get my iron, and that will be the next thing I'm going to experiment with. You know me, with all my projects, they're all experiments. So ironing this the way of the nap. Fortunately, because it's good quality velvet, it won't melt. Please don't try this with like Draylon, as it used to be called. I don't know whether it is still called that, or nylon velvet, because if you have the iron up too high in order to be able to melt the glue underneath the fabric will melt and your project will be ruined. I'm just hoping that the iron is hot enough to be able to melt the glue again and then get it to stick to the fabric properly. Have a little look, shall we? Let's have a little look. Sort of smoothing out a bit there. Well, I do declare I think it's working. Praise be! And also what I've got to be careful of is, because the original Velcro fastening to the original lampshade was stuck on the other side with glue, I've got to hope that this doesn't unglue it. Is there such a word as unglue? Well, I've done as best I can with the ironing of the glue gun. I've decided I'm not going to use the glue gun to turn the edges over. I'm going to use Bostik all-purpose glue. I've always used that in the past and it seems to be better than the glue gun. For some reason the glue gun doesn't seem to be man enough. So that's what I shall do. I'm going to cut off a tiny bit of the selvage edge. I shall show you why in a second. I'm keeping a little bit of the selvage edge on so that this end doesn't fray. The other end, which has no selvage edge, in there, will be tucked inside. So when it's on the lampshade, which I have to assemble before I can finish gluing, that end, as you can see, that's a bit loose there, so I'm going to Bostik that bit. That end sits onto the Velcro of this end like that. That will then be, the raw edge of that piece will then be tucked under here. I will then tuck the selvage edge over and put it on top of there so it's glued. So the raw edge is protected, the selvage edge doesn't show, and that it will be the back of the lampshade, which presumably will face the wall. So now I'm going to get my boss stick out. And start doing that. I'm wondering if it's better to before I finish gluing. I've got to make sure I know the right and wrong way up, because this will be the base, if you like, where the bulb bit comes through, and this will be the top. Like that. I've got to make sure that the material is up the right way. There you go, it would have been up the wrong way. So that when it's done, the pile lays flat and goes downwards. Okay, so I've finished it off. I've carried on joining the fabric to the lampshade with Bolster glue. You've got more time to work with it than with a glue gun, and it seems to be holding down. I've turned the selvage edge over again with glue, and now what I'm going to do is actually stick the two edges together. Seems to have worked up here anyway. So I've done the top and bottom. All right, Albert. As usual, he knows that I'm filming, so he thinks he will interrupt and ask to go out. Don't you, mate? Next, I will turn these edges over. I'm probably going to have to hold them down with pegs of some description, clothes pegs. So I shall glue all the way round both ends, tuck it round, and then that will be another job done. And these bits go up into here and up onto the light fitting to hold the lampshade still over the bowl. Okay, so next stage is glue and peg. Yes, Albert, I'm coming. I've done one edge at a time because I need that many pegs to hold it all down. I've used brand new pegs so that they don't make it dirty. They will probably make a little bit of indentation in the material to begin with, but we can always work on that later in order to be able to get rid of it. But this way, at least I know that every bit of it is being held down properly and will be stuck securely. So I'll wait for that to dry and then I'll do the other end. Last night I had the pegs on that end and let it stick. This morning I have been sticking this bottom piece. Now I'm just about to take all the pegs off and hope that it's stuck all the way round. Confession, I did get some glue on the front here somewhere. Actually, I'm quite pleased with that because even I can't find it now. I managed to roll a lot of it off, if you like, but I didn't want to damage the velvet, obviously. So with the last little bits, I tried on a scrap piece of fabric, some nail varnish remover, and I just wiped it over the last remnants with a nail varnish remover and managed to get it off. So that is the finished lampshade. As you can see, both ends are just stuck and tucked. Obviously the back seam is where it's going to be back into the room, I guess. And yeah, that's the lampshade. Now we've got to get on with the bolster cushion. that will be used in hopefully the other cushion if I get round to making the clam shell cushion. This bit I'm going to be making the circles for the ends, and I had some trouble working it out, but then I had a cunning plan. Okay, so if that is that, because I know you have to use pi and various other things, but as you've seen from previous videos, my maths and so on isn't very good. So what I did was get the tape measure to what the circumference is going to be. Do that. And measure it across. So, okay, that gives me enough to be able to take it out of there. It doesn't matter that it goes slightly onto the selvage edge here, because that's going to be tucked up anyway into the end of the cushion as part of the seam. I thought, right, okay, I need to draw round something of this length now. What can I find in my cupboards? So I went straight to this pot. Talk about jammy. Measured it round the actual circumference of the bowl, and it's the right circumference for that, but obviously I needed a little bit extra for the turn up, which has worked out to be 53.5 centimetres. When one measures round the edge, the outer edge of the bowl, rather than the actual bowl itself, so the rim if you like, guess what? It comes to 53.5 centimetres. How jammy is that? So I need to cut out that and that up there, and then across there. Then I've got my bolster material there, and then I can draw round with my marker on the back of the material, obviously, round the bowl twice, and then I can start stitching one end. So I should get on and do that now. I've pinned what will be the tube of the bolster cushion right sides together. I'm not going to stitch right up to the very end because I'm going to need to be able to turn that in with the end circles to create the seams. So I will leave that open slightly. I'm just going to do some reverse stitching so that it doesn't have to be overstitched, because that in effect does overstitch it and creates a secure stitch at the end, so it won't come undone. I usually let the foot guide me for the distance from the edge. I haven't got it on a fast setting because I don't like the stitches to run away with me, which can happen if it goes too fast. I like to be able to adjust and so on as I go. And the same this end, I won't sew right down to the bottom. Just get to within a centimetre or so and then do some reverse stitching. Okay, that's that bit done. The next bit will be to stitch one of the circles to the end. What I'm intending to do is have this bottom selvage edge where I overcut and line it up with the seam that I've just done. The reason being that then both ends the material will be the right way up, and that's the sort of thing that would not only annoy my daughter, but it would annoy me, so that when the bolster is in position, both ends, the nap will be the same way. So I shall pin that next, and then I've got the unenviable task of stitching it. I've sewn one end on completely, and I've sewn the other end on just half. All will become clear. Put it in the right way. Get all the different threads out of the way. So that's the completed end. That's the half stitched end. And now I'm going to stuff it. I've got more stuffing from the sofa. What I'm going to do, I'll probably actually fit it in this bag that it came in. So obviously cut this bit off, sew it into this bag to the right length and diameter, squish the stuffing in there, and then I will have to pin it inside out, or in fact right sides together this time. Like that, pin it, and then I will have to hand over sew all the way round. I've done 3 lots of stitching at each edge there just to hold it secure while I'm stuffing it. As I say, once I've stuffed it, I'll have to pin it, hand stitch it, and then I shall show you the finished article. Okay, I've finished. So I've done the headboard, the lampshade, and the bolster cushion to match. So that's all 3 things. I'm hoping to do another cushion if I've got enough material and if I can be bothered. I stuffed this with the stuffing that I stuffed the headboard with. So the stuffing that came out of the sofa. So all in all, she's got a nice little collection for her bedroom. Hope she's happy with it.